You're listening to the Intimacy Uncovered podcast, where we discuss intimacy, romance, foreplay, and sex-positive topics with your hosts, Ryan Whitfield and Lex Harris.
Welcome to the Intimacy Uncovered podcast show. I'm Ryan.
I'm Lex.
And welcome to another episode.
That's right. We're back at it as always, folks.
And if you don't know, everything that we do is real, raw, and relatable.
That's right. Absolutely.
Keep it very candid here. Yes, this is the show that has candid conversations about intimacy, romance, foreplay, and sex, along with crazy date stories.
I know. We really haven't been on a good run here with, people really participating and sending in their stories and their comments and, even kind of positive feedback about the show. So we appreciate those things. We definitely
appreciate everyone for listening thus far. And if you would love to be featured on our show, let me tell you how you can do it. Email us, podcast@intimacyuncovered.com.
Yes.
Feel free to DM us or inbox us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. And we'll get you featured on here.
That's
if your story is great.
I'm sure it will be. I'm sure people have plenty of exciting things going on in their dating life.
People have a lot of dirt.
In their relationships.
A lot of juice, a lot of gossip.
And if you have some nice candid tips that you want to pass along to our listeners, again, you can send them by way of any of those methods. And we would love to just share.
Lex, before we get started on the show, you know what's something that keeps crossing my mind in regards to this is that people need to go to Amazon and grab the book.
Grab the book, especially while it's at a discounted price right now.
It is. It's on a discount.
We all love discounts. I know I do.
Yes. So go to Amazon, search Intimacy Uncovered.
That's right.
And grab that book.
Grab a copy now.
You'll thank us later. So
yes,
Lex,
indeed.
what do you got in store for us
today? So let me go ahead and tell you what our lineup is for today. So we have, of course, our fan mail that we're going to lead with today, actually. Because I think it really spirals into our other hot topics
so
that we have going on.
Switcheroo today.
Do a little switcheroo. All Keep things exciting, as you like to say.
I like that.
Excitement is so important, right?
Yes, it is. I'm with it.
So we are going to start with the fan mail, which is Shallow Hal.
Shallow Hal. You know what? That was one of my favorite movies. Like, seriously. Shallow Hal.
It's actually one of mine too.
Listen, Shallow Hal taught me a thing or two.
See, oh my goodness. So you had Shallow Hal, Boomerang Lord. No wonder.
I didn't learn what I needed to learn from Shallow Hal. It just was a very thoughtful movie.
It was. It did make you think. It taught me to look from people from the inside. Yeah, inside out.
Inside out.
Absolutely.
Like all right, so tell us about the Shallow Hal.
So that is our fan mail topic. And then we're going to spar right on into Charm versus Romance and talk about breadwinners. I mean, is that a topic that's come up for you, like lately? Because I feel as though it's a topic that comes up often in deeply committed relationships, right? And then we're going to mellow things on out with pillow talk as usual.
All right, well, listen, stick around, guys. We'll be right back after this brief message. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
Fan mail up first.
Yes, indeed. And we're about to jump right on into it. So, I've been dating a guy for 6 months. I guess it's fair to say that I love him. We do all types of activities, which is refreshing. He doesn't seem modest when it comes to spending, which allows us to have some pretty awesome outings and experiences. He also buys me gifts, which is all well and good. However, I'm really beginning to question the direction things are going in. Most of our conversations are on the surface. We only seem to have more of a physical connection. When I mention words like commitment and romance to him in an effort to make us closer, he states he is being romantic and committed by whining and dining me, taking me out to these expensive restaurants. But all we seem to do is go out to these fancy places and then have sex. It all seems so shallow and on the surface, and I want more. Thoughts? This is Lydia from VA.
Well, I'm going to be very professional.
Okay.
But before I be
professional?
Yes, before I respond in a more professional manner.
I think we want you to respond in a candid.
Candid. So let me be candid. It sounds like a booty call.
Oh, thank you. Bring it on. Yeah, so it sounds like a booty call?
Right. But let me put my professional hat back on.
Oh, okay. Sure.
It sounds like something that's similar that we talk about in the book.
Yes, it does, Ryan.
And what that is charm versus romance. So let me kind of go into this. So this gentleman is whining her with gifts and taking her out to dinners and things like that, but then it results in physical. Charm is when you do something for someone for something in return.
Okay.
So the dinners, the gifts are all being done
To get
in return for the
booty.
No, not the booty. It's called the nightcap.
the nightcap.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
clever.
getting a nightcap.
Clever.
Yeah, it's a nightcap. Now, romance, on the other hand, is when you do something special for someone with no return. There's nothing. You're not looking for anything in return. You're just doing it from, free will of your heart and how you feel. So in this situation, she needs to identify and let him know that, this scenario is run its course.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's easier said than done, Ryan, especially when you love someone. And that's what she says she does here, right?
Yeah, I don't think she loves... I don't think...
I was about to say that too.
No, listen,
actually.
she can't love him because if they're only talking from the surface, I don't see what could she be loving. She's loving the restaurants, the quality time, and the gifts.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. I was actually going to say that she does. I think she might be confusing, and she very well may love him, but she doesn't seem to be in love with him because, I mean, when you're around this person for this amount of time,
she's only based on the story. She's only with him for a brief time to eat and to go nightcap.
Well, I mean, that's what she's emailed to us, but we really don't know. We know that they've been together for 6 months, so that's enough time to develop an attachment to somebody. So I'm going to go with what she's saying in here, which is that it's fair to say she loves him. So since she is saying that part,
That's tough.
since she is saying that part, she very well may. We don't know her past. We don't know nothing about her. So I just would caution her to say that, it sounds like she may have sort of an attachment to this guy. I would say how you're saying for her to really evaluate whether or not it is actually love, or if it's just a fond attachment to him.
It doesn't sound like this is an intimate connection at all.
Yeah, but I definitely want to respect what it is she's saying that she feels.
So is this a situation?
It sounds like a situationship. And you know what? I actually want to kind of go into something too from a professional standpoint.
Uh-oh.
Allow me to put on my hat for a second.
All right.
So you know what? I actually want to talk about this because I think it kind of applies to her. So it's this guy named Robert Sternberg, who is a professor at Cornell University. And he has this whole triangular theory of love, since she's saying that, she has love for him. So essentially what it is it's like a triangle, but it's different moving parts of the triangle. So there's 3 components to love, is what Sternberg's theory is saying. And that is intimacy, passion, and commitment. Okay? So essentially what he's saying is the greater the commitment to someone, the more you experience the intimacy, the more you experience the passion, or the greater the intimacy could lead to more passion, more commitment. You see how it kind of moves around?
I got you. I'm with you.
Yes. So, I mean, I would, in thinking about that in the context of what's going on with Lydia, I'm not sure whether or not, doesn't sound like there's a great level of commitment there, which could definitely be impacting the intimacy and even the passion.
Well, I mean, we talked about this in the first episode, and if you did not listen to our first podcast, we talked about what intimacy was, and we talked about the 5 types of intimacy.
Right.
And based on this scenario, it seems that only 2 of the 5 are being effective or active.
And
right?
what's that, Ryan?
Experiential, which is, going out to eat, and the physical. Mm-hmm. So for her, she seems like she's trying to have an emotional connection, but there's no intellectual. It seems like if he's just standing on the surface, he's not really opening up.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and a lot of times I think sometimes we fall down that rabbit hole, which is sometimes kind of misleading because you're with this person, you're out having fun. It seems like things are going great as far as you're going to these fancy restaurants, and I think the fancy restaurants give a false perception as well because you're going to these amazing restaurants and you're like, I want to continue to live this life, right, and then of course you still feel the excitement. So when you go home, this person gets what they want, and then the next day you wake up like, what did I just had a steak and or some lobster and that was it.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a tough one. So I really, I want to go back to Sternberg's thing too, because I think it's interesting because I want to get your perspective on something. But, from that kind of interaction of the triangle of love, which is the passion, the intimacy, and the commitment.
Okay.
He says that we develop kind of these stories, like these kind of themes of what love should be or what it should look like, right?
Okay.
So the stories that we kind of come up with are observed by us, through media, watching TV or Boomerang or Shallow Hal or reading fiction, or just watching other people in relationships, right? So as a result of that exposure, we come up with our own type stories. So the idea behind that is, we're more likely to succeed in relationships if we align ourselves with people who kind of have the same theme or story as ourselves, if that makes sense.
So let me get this straight. If I'm going on a date, I'm going to ask her what's her thing.
I don't think you're going to ask her that.
She gonna be like, what the hell you mean?
Exactly. She gonna be like, sir.
So then, okay, so look, you shared Steinberg, right? So I'm gonna tell you what I would do. I normally, if I'm meeting someone, I would normally share a few books, maybe the 5 Love Languages. There's another one called How We Love, and it helps us identify and crack the surface to kind of get a conversation going. So my question to you from a professional standpoint is, how do I break in this Steinberg thing? Like I feel like I can introduce it, and I want to know how I can actually.
So you don't have to break it in. Like I'm actually just giving this for people's general knowledge, so that they kind of have it or whatever, and can actually go back and look more, and read on it more themselves, because there's actually a lot more to it.
Well,
more than I can explain in this podcast.
Will you be posting something about?
Yeah, I'll
this?
post a link to it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And just talk about it and give it respect.
Yes, but I wanted to kind of say that I was going to give examples of some of those stories. If you ready for me to do that?
Give top 5.
Okay.
Top 5.
Yeah, I got 7 that I think are kind of prominent.
Okay.
And then I kind of want to see if you fall.
Top 5, 2 bonus.
He's crazy. So anyway, I want to see if you fall into any of this. Okay.
Oh, me?
Yeah, I just want to know.
I didn't know I was involved with
Yep,
this
see?
process. I'm listening. Come on.
All right. So he has 26 kind of love stories or themes that people.
But you're gonna see if I fit into these 7.
People may have or whatever
Gotcha.
come up with.
Okay.
I just chose 7 that I feel like are prominent, and I want to see if you fall into any of these.
Okay.
So I have business here. This is like a business theme or story where relationships are seen as like a business proposition, where it's like, money is power, and partners in this close relationship are seeing each other as business partners. Then there's the cookbook type theory, doing things a certain way, like a recipe, and, results in the relationship being more likely to work out, if we follow this type of recipe. Does that make sense? Okay. Then fantasy. And this is where the person often expects to be saved by like a knight in shining armor, or the man, to marry this perfect ideal woman and live happily ever after. Then there is the gardening one, where relationships need to be continually nurtured and tended to. That's the perspective.
Have you been reading my personal journal?
Where relationships need to be, kind of vested in.
I need to go check my locker.
All right. This religion one, okay? So from this standpoint, they either view love as a religion or see, love as a set of feelings and activities dictated by religion. Okay. Then there's theater. So this one's funny to me. Love is scripted and, has predictable acts, scenes, and lines.
Okay.
And then the last one I put up is sacrifice. And these people kind of focus in on that, to love is to give of oneself, or for someone to give him or herself to you. Okay. So with that being said, that's just 7 of the 26 that they've come up with. And so I just want to know, do you feel like you fall in line with any of these? Business, cookbook, fantasy, gardening, religion, theater, or sacrifice as a theme of love for you?
I feel like I have touched all 7 of those.
Oh.
The only one that I don't feel like really relates to me is the last one.
What, sacrifice?
Well, I don't know if that the sacrifice. I think I'm relatable to that, but I don't feel like it fits. Like it doesn't fit me very closely.
Okay.
The first 6 I feel like were like dead on, but the last one is a hit or miss.
Okay.
I like this. I think this is pretty cool.
I do too. I
think
it's
pretty
neat.
cool. And I think that once you post it, it'll allow people to, kind of see where they fall into these things.
Yeah, they can really go in and take their time. I just kind of want to introduce it a little bit because I thought it was really neat too.
No, this is a great thing to introduce to everybody.
Absolutely.
Hope you guys go on our Facebook page and check out this post because we're going to post it and want to get your feedback on it, of course, to see what theme fits with you. And
yeah, I would have to say if I had to identify one for myself too, probably I would say maybe I'm more of a gardening, religion, and sacrifice probably.
Okay.
Have been my top ones.
I wouldn't have picked those, but okay.
Really?
Well, I mean, I think you since you're in this field, I feel like the 27 are a lot closer to you to pay, meaning you've noticed and you had to study this, so it means that you know about it a little bit more. So it was like it's easy for you to pick. Just me hearing the 7, I'm thinking I had to pick just from those 7, but you identified.
Yeah. I mean, and even still, that's why I picked these 7 because I felt like out of the 26, these were more relatable.
Gotcha.
Or come up more often.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's just a little feedback, and I think that Lydia should check it out too, and really kind of get more feedback on the whole, components to love, so she can make sure whether or not she really is feeling in love with this guy. Is it the passion, the commitment, the intimacy? Are they all working together? Are they not there? What's up? So, yeah.
Well, listen, this segment I learned a lot. Normally we're joking and we're having a lot of fun with them, but this one I feel like we were learning something today. So I learned something today. So I hope you guys learned something too. So we're gonna take a quick break.
Yeah,
and we'll
absolutely.
be back with our hot topic. All right. And we are back. Welcome to the Intimacy Uncovered podcast.
Yes, welcome back, and we are getting into our hot topic. I cannot wait to go back and forth with you about this. Well, let me not say it like that, but
well, it is what it is. It is what it is.
But we're gonna be talking about breadwinners. Can the woman be a breadwinner? And I can't wait because I remember last podcast we started talking about finances. Okay. And you almost lost it when I was like, and the woman may be able to, do this and do that. And you were like, I don't think it works that way.
Okay. Well, so what's your thought? What's the question? So
the question is, can the woman be the breadwinner? And if she is, does that affect the intimacy? How does that affect the intimacy if the man isn't, the one in the home that is the breadwinner? Women are out here doing it, So.
No, and you're right. So shout out to all these women out here that are the breadwinners that are doing good things. So here's the thing: if a woman makes more than a guy or her man, it's all in how she allows money to dictate and change the dynamics of the relationship.
Okay.
If she thinks that her making more money and maybe she's able to maybe pay for more bills and she feels that gives her more leverage and more power, then it's going to affect the guy. So,
do we automatically associate money with power?
I mean, it's hard not to.
Do you think so in our society or just like in a relationship?
Yeah, it all depends on. The other thing is how much it has to be a significant amount more.
Okay.
If someone's making 50 and the woman's making 55, I mean, he can go out and cut grass and make $5,000.
Right, exactly. It has to be a significant amount.
If it's a significant amount, like where she's making 150 to his 50. Then he has to, for whatever reason, he has to, 2 things. He either has to play his role.
Play his role?
Play the role, meaning I'm pretty sure if they got kids, he's going to have to be, Tony Danza. and stay
he got to be more hands-on.
Yeah, he got to be more hands-on with the family.
And he needs to make sure dinner's ready and draw in her bath and all this.
Well,
I'm just teasing.
No, listen. No, here's the thing. I think whether or not he's the breadwinner or not, you still should be doing that. But
yes, I do, absolutely, for one another.
The thing is, the whole thing about a relationship and a couple and marriage and relationships is it's supposed to be a team effort.
Yes.
And you have to find, a lot of times you have to have a spiritual relationship. Mm-hmm. And I think with that helps keep you grounded because...
It does help keep you grounded.
So...
But I think in the context of our intimacy in, the 5th one that we mentioned, financial intimacy, this is a big piece of the pie for that type couple who, the roles may be reversed a bit as far as breadwinning goes. And how they're able to come up with their formula for success with that, is really crucial, Ryan. I feel like.
I think as long as she does not make him not feel like he's a man, less of a man because of his income, that's the key.
Because men hate to be emasculated, correct?
That is 1,000% true.
Yes.
And one of the other things I would add on to that is that he should be at least putting the effort to make sure that into trying to increase what he does.
Well, what if he loves me? So I'm just presenting a scenario here.
Okay.
I'm devil's advocate here. So let's say maybe he is a pastor or a priest or something like that, and sometimes they go according to love offerings and what the congregation gives them and all of those things. And she has a corporate job, where it's set in stone. So he may not necessarily be able to increase unless God increases him.
He better put
He
some
better
CDs.
pray.
Nah, he better put some CDs and some tapes out.
There
There you go. I just increased them.
So, that process may be, kind of not as fast as like getting a promotion or changing jobs. You get what I'm saying?
Well, I think you know that going into that. Like, if
That's
this
what
person,
I understand that. So that's what I'm just posing that question, because if it is something along those lines, he may not be able to increase it as fast as, it were those other scenarios.
But a lot of times, you know what? Let me say this.
Unless he's still in the congregation. No, I'm just kidding.
Please don't do that.
I know, please don't.
Now, the other thing, we're talking about money here, but one of the key things that I feel like is key in the financial part is value.
Yep, I agree.
Because somebody can make, a woman can make 150, but that guy can make 50, but his value could be 300,000.
Okay, expand a little bit more on that.
Well, in order for her to do her job, he may be doing the things that help her get that promotion.
That's right.
So that value is really more than what her salary is.
Yes.
And without him being there, she may not be in a position, or she may not be capable of handling everything in order to, withstand or get that salary.
You're right. And that's a good point, Ryan, because a lot of times people may miss that between the value and worth of something, So she bringing in the 150 and, able to hold this and that down, but yet you may have all types of headaches in the relationship. So is that scenario worth it versus if, the person is adding value in some way, like you just mentioned, are supportive or helpful or, kind of playing their role in the relationship in a way that is able to enhance what it is you go out here to do. So that's a big difference.
Now,
there.
I will share a personal story.
Please, we're getting candid. Thank you.
So at one point in my life, I did have a scenario where the woman made more than me.
This is a no judgment zone, Ryan. I want to let you know that. Please share more.
So I was younger, and what happened was it definitely made me feel insecure.
Okay. So about how young were you? I'm just curious.
In my 20s.
Okay, 20s.
So when that happened, the competitive nature in me really kicked in. So I ended up making more than her in a shorter period of time. And I think it went to my head because I was so insecure about that situation.
So, and I'm just pointing out the obvious. Were you competing with her or competing with the relationship at this point?
At that point, it was her. At that point, it was her. I didn't know what I know now. It was definitely her. And you know why it was her, and it was with myself. And the reason why I say that is that I didn't feel that I always felt that I had a value about myself, but I didn't feel that it was worth that much. If that makes any sense, I felt that I brought value to any situation.
Sure.
But I didn't feel like it was worth that much.
Okay, at that time. Okay.
And then as I understood, as I made the higher salary, I realized that even though I made more at that time, I lost value.
How so?
Because my ego, when I made it, and my pride made me change how I looked at things, and I didn't focus on the value.
Yeah.
I focused more on how much I was making.
Do you think that is something that easily happens to those folks out here or us, whoever are able to kind of acquire or have a good job or acquiring good salaries, doing things, that it's easy to lose that focus? You know they say the money is the root of all evil.
No, they do say that. They do say that. Here's what I'll say. Maturity trumps that situation.
Okay, so you have to be mature.
Yeah, because I'll tell you why. You can have a lot of money and you can have that feeling that you are worth more because you have that money.
Sure.
And your value be less. But once you go through a circumstance, and you're going to get tested. Once you're tested and something happens where You may possibly lose all that money.
Yeah.
Or lose that job.
Yes.
Your value has to stand up.
That's true.
So I started off not making more than this person that I was in a relationship with. And then I end up making more than this person.
Yes.
But when I made more than them, my value went down.
Was that the cause of it ending?
No, it was other circumstances that led to that. And it's another podcast that we'll get into, but I will give you a snippet of what would cause that situation. There was some infidelity, and there was some the long distance.
Okay.
So it's tough to hold on to a very close, intimate relationship with someone, and you got that long distance.
All right, that's fair enough.
So,
but that was a good point. I love how you brought that home about the value and the worth. Some things just aren't worth it, and value wise, that is an important piece. And I guess you have to consider what's most important to you. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and
the value of something with a worth.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Yeah. So great. We got great conversation. We're gonna go ahead and take a break before we go into our pillow talk.
Be right back.
And we are back, and we are gonna wind things on down with pillow talk. So here is some reflection. Loyalty in a relationship is not a luxury. It should be a standard in any healthy relationship. It's important to remember that love is an attachment that comes from the heart and soul, and loyalty is derived from the mind. So keep your thoughts focused on nourishing your commitment to your relationship, and you will achieve intimacy if you both stay committed.
It's a great one.
Thank you.
You're very consistent with this.
Well, thank you, sir. I try to be consistent.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Yes.
For joining us again.
Absolutely.
Please make sure you go subscribe on iTunes. We're also on SoundCloud. Lex, if they want to get in contact with you.
Oh, Ask Lex Harris. You can ask Lex Harris on Facebook, IG, and website.
And for me, you can visit us at intimacyuncovered.com. You can find me on Instagram at @RyanWhitfield. And you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Whitfield. And you can also find us on Facebook. We're on Snapchat, all under the handle Intimacy Uncovered.
That's right, YouTube.
Don't forget, if you get a chance, go on Amazon, get your pre-order copy of the book.
Take advantage.
Reduce
prices.
Reduce prices right now. So it won't be like that for long.
No,
so take advantage of it. So we want to thank everyone again for, like I said, tuning in.
Absolutely. And we love to hear from you guys. So please, like Ryan said, go ahead and give us a holler.
And if you want to be featured on our show, feel free to email us at podcast@intimacyuncovered.com. We always like to feature great stories, and we always like to get your feedback, so feel free to do that. And always, everyone, stay connected. Until next time, we'll see you later.
You've been listening to the Intimacy Uncovered podcast. You can win a pre-released copy of the Intimacy Uncovered book. Go sign up now at intimacyuncovered.com.